Oh.
Yeah, I see.
Does we need to be off? Okay.
It's recording.
All right, I'd like to welcome everybody out to the planning commission meeting for April 24th, 2024. We have 7 commissioners present. Welcome the new commissioners. And I've asked Commissioner Emily to give us an opening prayer.
Grateful for him and we're grateful for this chance we have to meet as Payson Planning Commission. We're grateful for the blessings that we enjoy and the chance that we have to be in the city. We're grateful for the kind citizens that are here and the support that we get. Pray that might help us in the things that we have before us today, that we can review them and make decisions that'll help us to better our community. And we love you very much and ask this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
All right, next item is item 3. This is approval of the minutes from our previous meeting. Is there any discussion on the minutes from previous meeting?
Look fine to me.
At the end, just, I don't know that really matters, but it has my name listed at the end of voting to end the meeting, and I wasn't here. So I don't know if it really matters, but.
It matters.
I'm all in favor of meetings ending, so it's fine.
Okay, I'll check that.
So with that change, we have a motion.
I make a motion then to approve the minutes from March 27th.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Biggerhoff. All in favor by yes?
Yes.
Okay. You want to take care of that item now before public forum, or did you want to?
You can open public forum and I'll just be part of the public today.
So item 4 is our public forum. So this is if you're here to address about anything not on the agenda. The agenda, it's in the back pockets there. You can get that. We'll get those items in a minute. But if there's something not on the agenda you'd like to address us about, you're welcome to do so.
Wow.
Yeah, you're part of it.
Hey.
Remember, you gotta state your name.
Do we need to limit you to 3 minutes?
Kit Morgan. No, I just want to take a minute to thank the commissioners on this body right here for being a great group to work with and the staff here. So I appreciate, like I said, I appreciate working with you guys and working on city business. And like I said, I want to big thanks to the staff for their preparedness and their ability to put things before us that was well presented, and that's all I have. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, hang out, Kit, hang out for a second.
You want me to state my name?
Yes, please.
Kathy Marzan. I'm just gonna ditto what Kit said. It was awesome working with you guys and the staff. You guys are awesome. And just the new guys, don't be afraid. Just say whatever you feel like. Don't feel like you're gonna be stupid. Just make a motion and they'll help you. They'll help you if you need help. But don't be afraid of it. It's a cool opportunity. And I'm glad that I was able to serve our city for so many years.
Okay, since they beat me to the punch, we just wanted to express our true appreciation to Kit Morgan and to Kathy Marzan, who have faithfully served, as well as Mr. Beecher. Thank you for serving. And we have some departing gifts for you guys. And then if you stick around, we have some treats too. Thank you very much. And then I just wanted to know how much Commissioner Morgan and Commissioner Marzan were influential on this commission, and we appreciate your service. With that, yes, all good. With that, I also wanted to acknowledge that we have some new commissioners with us tonight. Kirk Beecher has been reappointed to the Planning Commission, as well as Rachel Becker and Perry Adams. We had some wonderful candidates in interviews, and we're grateful that you wanted to serve the community, and we're grateful for your service. And maybe Chair Frisbee, I think it'd be appropriate if they introduce themselves and just anything that they wanted to say. Before I sit down though, I'll just take care of this. We do need a vice chair on the planning commission because it was not an item on the agenda. We can't do that tonight, but we'll put that on as an agenda item for next time. So you can take care of that. Thank you all.
Completely end the introductions.
Up to you.
Now? Okay, sounds like now. We'll let Kevin start though, just a quick, at least on YouTube, so they
know who you are, know who you are. So the new guys know who you are.
Kevin Hibbel, Commissioner. I'm originally from New York. We moved to Payson in 2000. Excited to be here. Is that good, Kurt?
Whatever, just introduce yourself so they know who you are.
Yeah. I'm a lady to know, so.
I'm Perry Adams. I moved to Payson in 2008. I've been in the valley for quite a while, like down here in Payson, so I figured this is where I need to bring my residents and bring me and my wife, and so we're here now.
Perfect.
My name is Cammie Brinkerhoff. I've been in Payson since 2015, I think. And I've got my 2 kids, my husband, 2 kids, so they're here.
Ryan Frisbee, born and raised in Payson, can't do it. Got my 4 kids here. Been on the planning commission since 2015, so I get to be involved, see where things are going, so.
Well, I've been in Payson since 1979. Been on the commission twice, my second go around here. Appreciate working with you.
I'm Rachel Becker. I only moved to Payson 2 or 3 years ago, but I love it here. I'm originally from Kansas. And this is my favorite place. I've been in the valley so far. So.
Perfect.
Kurt Beecher, I've been in Payson since 2007. My wife moved here. And this is also my second go around on the council. I wasn't on quite as long as Blair was before, but a few years, 8 or better. And then I had the opportunity to serve on the city council for a little while.
Anything else from the public? Not, we are going to move on to our review items. I'm going to start with item 5.1. This is a request by the city staff to amend the annexation policy plan map and add a 3 parcels to that map. So Michael has our presentation.
Thank you, commissioners. Let me pull this up really quick. Channeling a little bit of Jill Spencer here. I stole her PowerPoint presentation. So it's a pretty involved process to amend our annexation policy plan, even if it's doing what we're doing, suggesting tonight. And so I'll just briefly go over that with you. First of all, our annexation policy plan was adopted in 2002. Since then, there was a major revision to it in 2018. And we did a minor revision in 2022, and now we have the revision we're doing now. The process to revise or to create an annexation policy plan follows these steps. So we are now at this step right here, public meeting for the affected entities. And so this is an opportunity for any entity that might provide services within the area that we are proposing for amendment. They can come and speak and have any questions talked about, things like that. Following this meeting, we have scheduled for May 8th to be a public hearing, again, here at Planning Commission, because the state legislature wants us to do it this way. So it'll be more of the same, but if we're following process. After that, sometime after that, we can then have a public hearing at city council who will make a final decision on any amendments to the annexation policy. With that said, several things go into the annexation policy plan. But we are just going to talk about changes to the expansion area. So getting into that, there are 3 proposed areas to be included in the annexation expansion area map. These 2 actually join each other, but I wanted to show them as individual parcels. For reference, this is Villages at Arrowhead Park right here. And so it's immediately across the street from Villages at Arrowhead Park. There's these 2 parcels. This 3rd parcel is west of the landfill, and it's intended to potentially be used for some city functions. I believe it's shooting range and was it a BMX track? Is that what?
Motocross.
Motocross. So that's the intent. That is BLM property at this time, but we felt as if it would be reasonable to bring it into the city if and when those activities were to occur on the property. So in reference on the city's expansion area map, those 2 parcels are right here in blue, and then the BLM parcel is right here. So this is all that's being proposed for amendment to the annexation policy plan is this map. Going back to this being a multi-step process, we are now in this step right here. And so on May 8th, we'll be on this one. Any questions about what's going on, why this is before you, or anything related to the parcels? Any questions whatsoever?
It's fine. Just a quick question on the 2 parcels to the northeast. Does this impact Salem's annexation plan at all?
Potentially, yes. And so they were one of the affected entities that was notified. In 2022, this was voted to, this area was part of the expansion area, and it was voted to be removed from the expansion area, partly due to the availability of bringing city services to the area, namely sewer. There is some interest in this property to be developed, and those individuals interested in this property have come up with some solutions in which they can address those utilities, and thereby they would request to have it back in our expansion area.
Maybe just explain to the new commissioners that this is not an annexation. This is just
Correct.
our potential boundary for
Yeah,
annexation.
and for reference, the city boundaries is this kind of light purple in the center here with the black line around it. And all of the darker purple surrounding is what is our proposed expansion area or annexation areas. None of those areas are currently in the city boundaries, but the state requires us to identify properties that potentially could come into our city. And so that is what this map is showing. And then these 2 amendments would be additions to that darker purple area. So it is not an annexation, it's just an amendment to the required plan that we need to have.
So I just have a question based on these proposals, then what is the staff's recommendation so far on what their studies have, the study that they've conducted?
Provided they're able to do the improvements and the things necessary to bring utilities into Payson, staff is in favor of that because it would also alleviate some of the sewage that goes to Salem City now, because they would build the capacity large enough to bring some of the surrounding areas into Payson as well.
243.
And for the benefit of the new commissioners, sometimes we ask the staff based on what they have conducted, what they've done in between our meetings, just where they are, how confident they are in what's proposed to us. Because we don't vote on it, we just suggest that it goes to the city council, either with a favorable or tabled or a non-favorable vote for what's being proposed to us. So I usually will ask, or someone will ask, just what the staff has their leanings as far as how things are so far from what we see.
Is engineering and everybody comfortable with LEI's suggestions?
From what I understand, yes, provided that those things can actually be done. So
They actually do that.
yes, all we've received from the engineering is just an engineer's memo saying that it is possible to do what's being suggested.
There's no engineering drawings. or
Correct.
anything. Is engineering comfortable with what LEI is suggesting?
From what I understand, yes.
Let me just add to that, and clarify that this is the preliminary steps to what we anticipate being an annexation application coming in, right? So we're setting up the scenario for this area to be annexed, which you will see those applications depending on what the decision is from the council. The area to the north, I just want to clarify and make sure everybody understands, that actually was part of our annexation policy plan a couple of years ago. And then because of the utility situation in the area, which was primarily serviced in the sewer to Salem's sewer treatment plant, it was determined that if all of the sewer is going to the Salem plant anyway, then maybe it would be better for that area to be in Salem's plan. So we, as Payson City, the council decided to disconnect that area. Well, not disconnect it, but just take it out of our annexation policy plan. Fast forward till now, the applicants have actually done quite a bit of engineering work, not only with LEI, but also with HAL, Hanson, Allen and Luce, which is our in-house engineering team that helps us with all of the capacity requirements that we have. They have determined a path forward to provide this area to be serviced through our own Payson City plant and through our own Payson City services. That will be expensive. There's no doubt about that, but the applicant, they are willing to put forth those resources in order to make that happen. And we have some partnerships that could be developed in the area that makes this feasible. Many of those things would still continue to be worked out, but preliminarily, HAL has given the okay that this is possible and we can make this work, and the applicant is willing to do that. So,
Have we talked to say, anybody from Salem?
I don't believe that Salem is here tonight, but this has been an ongoing conversation. When we removed this from our annexation policy plan, we assumed that Salem was going to put it into theirs. They did not do that, right, Jill?
As of yet.
As of
I don't
yet,
know
that
if they
has
have
not
plans to,
happened.
but-
Yeah. And I don't think that they have plans to do that now that we are pursuing this. So, great question.
You got, you're gonna have to put a pump station in there to get it to our facility?
There will be a
Is that what-
significant regional lift station.
So you wouldn't run it to Salem City then?
That's correct.
Okay, so you run some pump station to get it to our.
Yeah. Actually, putting this area into our system actually alleviates some of the requirements of Salem's facility, and it would actually open their facility up to accommodate their own connections rather than ours. Any further questions on that? Michael's doing a good job, but there was a little bit more history to that I wasn't even here for.
So is this gonna be a high density? So how many units are we looking at?
We haven't determined a specific count yet.
Some similar to what's on Arrowhead?
8 units to the acre type of situation. I would anticipate a density like that, but those are questions that will continue to come through
I'm
to you.
just trying to.
Yeah, in the annexation process. Great questions though.
The area west of No. Any problems with servicing that, or do we need to service that?
I don't think there's any need for any services.
Sewer is what I think. Water.
That would be done through wells and septic system at this time.
That's what I thought, because it's a long ways.
Yeah. We anticipate services going out there someday, but it's not needed in the immediacy.
So what's all planned over the west of the dump?
So I believe this northern portion is, the hope is to put a shooting range out there. And if I'm correct, the southern portion would be a motocross.
That's correct.
Currently being used as gravel or something like that. They use the shooting range, just long range control. It's a shooting range right now, it's just not a control. Yeah. It'd be nice to have some, because the lane would be a little safer.
Yeah.
It's a Jaguar application.
I know you always have problems with bullets going across the, you know.
Nothing is official yet. Let me just make sure that caveat is very clear and on the record. Nothing is official, but the city has been in conversations with the CMP. I just forgot what the acronym stands for, Marksmanship Program. Civilian, thank you. Civilian Marksmanship Program. They have a really great facility in Talladega, Alabama right now, but this would be a very high-tech facility that would allow electronic targets and
With a 1,000-yard range.
yes, it's very impressive actually. And so would be a really great addition to our community and would
It includes the acreage north of this shown in blue as well.
That's correct. Yeah. Currently that is BLM property, and you can imagine
That's the holdup.
the process of going through to purchase property from the federal government. It takes a little bit of time for good reason.
Takes
But
an act of Congress for them to divest the property.
yeah, so they're currently going through that process, but it would be a really great facility if and when that does happen, and we would expect a lot of influx of opportunity to Payson because of that. Again, nothing is official yet, but we have been in talks with them for a few years now. So, and then the motocross track would be a really great addition to our community as well. When we have a strong OHV community, as you all know, and this would provide an opportunity of additional recreational opportunities for them and for the city to either host or at least facilitate some additional opportunities for them.
Thanks, Michael. Sorry.
This is not a public hearing, so we're not taking action on this tonight, right?
Not taking action,
We're
but
still making a recommendation, but yeah, it's
So
not
we
an
have to
action.
take action. I'll make sure we recommend that it goes to the public hearing.
Yeah, it's ultimately just a discussion item because next planning commission will actually be where you make your official recommendation. And that's it. That's the public hearing.
There are some folks here tonight that would like to speak about this. If you want to open it up for some comments, that's up to you. But this is kind of an opportunity to gather additional information, and so I would recommend that.
Be happy to hear some public comment. If you'd like to step up to the microphone.
yeah.
Planning Commission, my name is Steve Steiner. Thank you for this opportunity. First of all, I have to make a comment on staff. They've been phenomenal to work with. I'm here on behalf of Fieldstone Homes. We're working with the property owner on the northeast pieces, the two triangles that are there. I got introduced to Fieldstone Homes within 30 days of the parcel leaving the annexation policy plan, saying, hey, we'd really like to have it looked at again. And answer some of the questions on Salem. To our knowledge, it has not been taken into Salem's annexation policy plan. It's truly kind of no man's land. And we very much like it to be in Payson. And that's why this request and why we've been working so hard with staff to find a way to do that. We do have the property owners that are here as well. And the comments been made several times that I think they always thought or felt like this property was Payson. So it feels like it's a natural continuation to have it come back into Payson. And obviously what's been stated before is accurate. This is just to give us another shot to come in and actually present a plan on how to do this. And when I first started meeting with Robert, Jill and staff was to find a win-win, understanding some of the complexities that Payson's currently experiencing with wastewater going to Salem. If there's a way to ease that kind of maybe awkward situation and having to rely so much on a neighboring city, that's something that we very much would like to help address, to find that win-win. How do the property owners find a way to do something productive with this property and also help Payson along the way? And what keeps coming up is the idea of this regional lift station that would truly address the wastewater in the area. And we've spent lots and lots of time with Hal and lots of time with LEI, and we're going to spend a lot more with them as we actually dial in this. But we very much would like the opportunity to do that study and do that exercise. And so if we're successful in having this annexation policy plan amended, it gives us the impetus to then go spend those dollars, work with staff, and actually design what that plan would look like, and really drive utilities into an area that has very limited utility infrastructure. And our hope and goal, and we think we can get there, is to try to provide kind of trunk line infrastructure that would open up that east side of Payson. We have spoken with PRI, which owns a lot of the property there. We know about the Nebo Beltway. I always call it the wrong thing that's coming through there. And part of this is we'd really like to understand what the infrastructure looks like before we have a road that comes through this area. And then we have to replan and re-engineer something and go through a road that belongs to UDOT. So I think the timing is right, and we really appreciate your support. You'll see us a lot. We'll be back at the meeting on the 8th. We'll be back at the meetings after that. And if you don't have our contact information, we'll make sure to leave it behind. So if any of you have any questions, we're happy to work through staff or you if you have anything. We would love to talk to any of you about this opportunity. And we do see it as an opportunity. So happy to answer any questions. I'll sit down and wait until it's my turn to have a cookie.
Thanks, James.
Would you like to make some comment?
Kit Morgan. My only concerns about the area, sat on the commission when this was removed. But my concerns there is the discussion of putting in a regional pumping facility out there, and the concerns about developing that area and how much resources and funding of that would come from Payson City to do such a thing out there. Because you've already got developments built out there that's already signed on to Salem City's sewer treatment facility out there. And so all that's going to be directed here. So, there'd be some concerns about the cost there, because they're going to say, hey, we already put everything in here, you're trying to get money out of somebody that's already living there, so that's just a concern. Like I said, I've never been really favorable of sewer pumping station, because I grew up with my dad's theory on plumbing was always, it has to flow downhill, so now you're using mechanical devices to get it where you need to go. So that's just my concern, the cost that Payson City would have to incur in such an endeavor. So thank you.
Thanks.
I'm Dane Hill. I work for Property Reserve. We manage the church property just to the south of there. So we've been working with Randy and Steve on this, and what they've said is correct. Like, the plan is to develop that area in the future, and finding some regional solutions to infrastructure makes a lot of sense, especially before we put in an interchange and a roadway. So I would just say that, like, they seem like they're on the right path, and we're kind of working with them to kind of work through some of this stuff. Yep.
talk about the next issue.
Is there comment on this one? No, gonna move on. So you want
Property
official?
owners want to say.
No. Okay. Motion to move it forward, or how do you want it?
We'll do that motion in the public hearing. This was really just an opportunity for affected entities to talk and have ideas thrown around, that sort of thing.
Okay. So that, then we move on to item 5.2. This is a request by Rob McGill to extend the municipal boundaries of Payson City and to include the property of the proposed Lunaria Springs annexation. The parcel numbers on the agenda there, and about 15.5 acres. So this is considering annexation. Then. Correct. Okay. Mike, we have our presentation on this one as well.
So as you saw in your staff reports, this is the area under consideration, these three parcels here outlined in red. This is SR 198 right here, kind of the pinkish color. And currently right here is South Haven Farms, the, I think they're four-story buildings there. This is South Haven Farms. It's a vacant lot right now, intended to be some sort of commercial type developments. It's a highway commercial area. And this is also South Haven Farms, and again, intended to be commercial. That's the way our general plan is, or our zoning map shows that now.
It's shown with parkways.
You're talking the Nebo Belt. So Nebo is actually going to intersect this to the north, the Nebo Beltway, and it'll go up to the freeway like that. And so this is going to be a major intersection once that new road comes in. So,
Will eventually continue to the south.
correct. It would continue down, I think it was at Salem Canal. Is that where it goes to?
It goes
At
further
least
south.
to say,
It goes further south than that, then connects into 11200 South, which is the road that goes to Woodland Hills.
Correct.
I was gonna say, I thought it went all the way to.
So that'll be a fairly major arterial road in the city once all of those things are done. So those are the parcels. This is a conceptual layout that the applicant gave us. This is that road 1500 East with, on this side of the road is the South Haven Farms, those four-story buildings. So the intent conceptually would be to have some sort of attached townhome style development, moving into larger townhomes and duplex style home developments. You'll notice that they are intending to have parks and a lot of open space here. They're also intending to have the existing homes remain. So again, this is conceptual, but the intent that staff would like to see in an annexation agreement would be all of the things necessary for this to go forward. And I'll talk about that a little bit more later. The applicant sponsor is requesting the RMF 10 multifamily residential, which would allow for up to 10 housing units per acre. And then I already talked about this a little bit. They seek to develop kind of a denser townhome look to the west and then reduce that as they go east. And so the intent is to be kind of a buffer between those four-story buildings and what potentially is going to be further east of smaller developments of single-family homes, duplexes, or whatever potentially goes there. But the intent would be, as it goes east, to become larger lots. Continuing, hopefully you can read that. So staff recommends approval conditioned upon an annexation agreement that is yet to come forward. But in that annexation agreement, these are some of the things that we would want to make sure are properly addressed. The infrastructure improvements. This is another situation where the sewer might need to be upgraded, and or if it doesn't flow, there might need to be some sort of a lift station here. But I do believe it would flow. Amenities, if any, we saw on the map that there was potential for parks in the development. That's potentially either going to be part of the homeowners association. I don't think that there's any intent to be public parks in there. The road would need to be widened on 1500 East, and we want to make sure of that. Also potentially the road on the north, which wasn't shown, is 50 South. That would potentially need to go toward the east. And then on the south end, it's 100 South would potentially need to continue as well. And 100 South is already there, but it may need some improvement. In the annexation agreement, we would support an up to number of total housing units, so it wouldn't be a maximum number. It would be a maximum based on the topography and the ability to actually develop that property. We would do some sort of appropriate zoning designation at the time. We believe that the RMF 10 zoning designation would be appropriate. We would also want to see a housing product that would give us designs, materials, and guarantee what type of development goes there specifically. And then the site layout, similar to what you saw here, a finalized site layout showing all of the open space, the lot layouts, and whatnot. So with that said, staff would recommend a positive recommendation to City Council to move this forward.
Why wouldn't we bring this in as an A5H building zone and then get the in place before we?
Well, with an annexation agreement, you can do those same things as in a development agreement. And so we don't feel as if there's any reason why it would need to have come in annexed, and especially with the applicant sponsor having plans for what they want to do there, it makes sense to potentially zone it at the time of annexation. Oftentimes the A5H is areas to be annexed into the city, but they don't have specific plans of what they want to do when it comes in. Yep. Any other questions?
So what you're telling me is he's gonna have a chance to change this as he comes in, and if we push this through? Well, is it gonna be a definite, I mean, yeah, I know you.
So, I mean, you can see the concept plan in the background. It'll look something to that effect, but obviously that's only a concept. It needs to work with road systems. It needs to work with sewer systems. The density of the housing units needs to be appropriately done with the amount of open space that'd be required. So I would say that that's a pretty good rough draft.
Yeah, rough draft, and then you're saying 2 or 3 stories now, where are you saying that 2 or 3 stories?
Oh, no, so
that's what I'm questioning.
Yeah, so this right here is 1500 East. And on the west side of that is the existing South Haven Farms. Those are 4
That's
stories.
where all the 4 stories.
Yep.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to.
So the intent would be that these are going to be a little bit denser townhomes, maybe up to 2 stories. That's fairly typical in our city, is 2 stories or 35 feet maximum height. And then that density in townhomes would reduce. You can see that these are a lot larger pads for the townhomes. And then these twin home style units are basically full-size single-family homes that are just share a common wall there. So, any other questions?
Okay, this is a public hearing. Do you have a question for me? This is inside of our annexation policy.
Correct.
We go another 3 or 4 lots.
I can't remember what the boundary is, but let's see if we can divine that from this thing. Oh, that's really small. But so it is right here. If I actually could steady my hand, it's like right there. So you can see that our plan goes all the way to over here.
Yeah, so someplace over near.
So it does
Lower
not
Mountain
follow a
Parkway.
street. It's what would be 1800 if 1800 exists.
If it existed, so Lower Mountain Parkway.
So we don't go that
But,
far
but,
east.
but close to Lower Mountain, between 17 and Lower Mountain.
Yep.
Okay, a little road right there. If 1800 existed, which it doesn't and won't for a while. Okay, so this is a public hearing, so we need a motion to open the public hearing.
It's technically not a public hearing.
This is not a public.
Okay.
But you are welcome to hear public
So
comment.
if we have some public comment on this one, we'd be happy to have you step up and share your comments. Get ahead of myself.
I prepared a little handout for you folks. So, I'm gonna make it a little easier for us.
Do you have a copy for us? Thank you.
My name is Clint Anderson. I reside in Payson. I'm not, I think that they've done a good job in talking about the annexation, but I do have some concerns. And if we could just review what has gone on in that little segment, that would be helpful. The first photos are the townhome project that is located about a block and a half to the west of the proposed site. And what's happening with that townhome project is you'll see that the first photo shows all the traffic that is now on the street and is not placed inside the property, which I think would be appropriate. And we can see why with the second photo is because while they have a common drive with double car garages, they do not have any additional parking, and it's creating a problem. The third sign is that the owners of the townhomes have been very good at posting signs all over the place saying, don't park only in designated areas. But there are no designated areas per se. And so my concern is that when I look at the proposed, can you call up that site map again, please? I'm sorry. If you, I don't have a pointer and I shake too bad anyway. If you look at the design and you look, I'll shake like that.
Wow, that makes me feel better.
Yeah. If you just push the button here and.
Yep.
Or you can use this mouse if you want.
Okay. If you look down here, you'll see that these units right here are not served by guest parking. The guest parking is in this area, and there's through several areas throughout there, there's 35 stalls. So what's going to happen with this project is these people are going to create a similar situation that has occurred with the townhomes, where the parking is going to end up out into the street. So in my opinion, this plan does not work because it creates congestion out on the streets. The 103rd South is an area where people walk, and it's going to create a safety issue as well. And so I'm concerned about that. And I think the density probably is a little greater than what it should be. Let's talk just for a second about the residents at South Haven. The residents of South Haven have had to decrease their standards to attract tenants. They're allowing animals in the complex, which is, I think, a negative. They're signing people up, and these people, a large percentage of them, not a large percentage, but a good portion of them are seeking help through the private sector after they've been there for a month, because they have been placed in the project and they can't afford to be there, and now they're looking for somebody else to pay for their food and their rent and their utilities. So it's placing a huge problem with the private sector. And we are in a suburban area, and we do not want to create an urban area. And by doing projects like this, we're creating an urban atmosphere.
And I don't think that that's what Payson should be all about. I mean, Payson should be about being a suburban area. I know that the state has placed some, has encouraged cities to do high density housing. I was told this by one of the mayors in the city, and it's just not something that we should be doing. So in looking at the pictures of the residents, you'll see that I managed to take a picture of a dog. You know, so okay. If you'll go to the inventory analysis page, that's the one with all the typing on it. I'm also concerned about the market. And these townhomes, my understanding was that they were to be built to be sold, that they ended up renting them. Now, there's some evidence that that was not the case, because when I look at the plant map, there's just one parcel. So that they would have had to subdivide the parcels. But what I did is I looked at Payson and looked at lots that are under 0.04 acres. And you'll notice that the list to sale ratio, it's the big 1.20 number. That indicates that this market is oversupplied. It will take, if I calculate the days on market, it would take 300 days to sell those properties. I'm concerned about the marketability of these properties. And I really think that this thing has to be looked at a lot harder before we do it. Now, the sample wasn't large enough when I just looked at Payson. You'll notice I only had 10 listings. But if I included Payson, Spanish Fork, Santa Quinta, and Salem, that gives me 142 listings to work off of. And I'm at a 2.7 to 1 list to sale ratio. Anything that is under 3 suggests that the market is oversupplied. And so I have some concerns. And I just thought that I would share those with you. Thank you very much for allowing me.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Thank you.
Anybody else on this item? The applicant want to make any comments?
My name is Rob McNeil. You know, I think this is a great community. It's going to be a great community. There's going to be open space and parks. Just this simple concept from the area that he was talking. We don't have any homes that front 10300 South or 1500 East. We don't have anything that fronts either one of those roads. We do have extra parking just to the east of those that was discussed. You can see there's quite a bit of extra parking throughout those townhomes. It will be a very planned out community. It will be a real benefit to Payson City. You know, at 10 units per acre, considering there's 20 units to the acre to the west, and commercial around us, I think it's a great buffer community. And I think it'll benefit a lot of younger families that are looking to purchase something and stay in the community and, you know, get involved in the community. And those people are the ones that end up staying in the community because they end up loving it. Their kids are in school, and eventually they build bigger homes and they live in bigger, you know, homes and build. So I just think it's a great community. Of course, it's just a concept, but it does look like there's quite a bit of extra parking in there to me, but I'm open to any questions that you might have.
Still options. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
You talk about there's no frontal property on 10300, but there's a lot of people who go out there and park, just like this gentleman was also saying too, because they're not always going to have a parking stall in there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in there. That's like, that's what it's always bothered me as far as when you get these big complexes, you're gonna have limited parking. So that's, I mean, that's something that needs to be looked at to me a
Correct.
little bit more. I mean, yeah, like I see, you do have parking, but then you get other people coming, they're gonna come hit this road just like this picture here. And then if you haven't got a driveway to park some of your cars, I've dealt with people that haven't been able to even pull their pickup in their driveway, you know, I mean, they park their stuff in the driveway. 9 times out of 10, a lot of people put their stuff in the garages versus
Their vehicles.
Their vehicles.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a concern I have.
Yeah.
That's,
And that comes through proper planning and working with staff in making sure that we have enough additional visitors parking throughout the community. So a lot of that just comes as we work through staff and work through design. But a well thought out plan and community can eliminate a lot of that parking on the street. So I truly believe that.
Are there parking lots that are not guests, like resident parking lots in the community?
So you're gonna have, so everybody's gonna have, you know, a 2-car garage or a driveway that they're gonna be able to park their vehicles on. But it's required for us to have extra parking, you know, or visitor parking. I mean, here's visitor parking right here. You know, that's right next to here. There's visiting parker, there's extra parking. I mean, there's just.
The reason I ask is because I have a friend who lives in the currently built community picture here, and whenever we go, the guest lots are filled up with the cars of the people who live there, and so we always have to park on the street. So I was just curious.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to continue to have proper planning of extra parking. And there is extra parking that will be required in here. So, I mean, it just makes it hard, you know, when you have certain units that have, you know, extra vehicles, I guess, but we plan that. I guess it's just, you know, you do the very best you can, you know, so.
Thank you. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
The existing property owners that are staying there.
No, they're not.
But you're just leaving the homes.
Yes, yeah, the 2 existing homes are going to stay. Mr. Takiki right here will be moving to San Francisco. That's where his wife is currently living, so they will just be moving out and going to California to be there. And Fledgers, who own this home right here, he will be retiring soon and they will be moving out.
So what's the plan with those 2 homes?
You know, they're decent enough that we thought we would just kind of leave those in the community. Make sure they look nice, they're fixed up, you know, that they're a benefit to the community. I don't know, this is a concept still. We still haven't truly made a decision. Our first initial decision is that they're probably not worth tearing down, you know, but we'll see. That just gives us 2, and they've been there for a long time.
They've been there for a long time.
Yeah, I think Mr. Takiki, well, they both probably been there 30 years or more, so.
Thank you.
Okay.
Staff, have any additional comments?
So I was talking to Robert a little bit. We do not have any official annexation agreement or even a draft yet, just bullet points that we've been talking about with the sponsor. So any of those things that concern you, we could potentially put in there. Obviously, an annexation agreement is agreed to by both parties. So not every suggestion is going to necessarily make it in there, but it is a good suggestion, especially on parking. So that might be something to consider as we develop the annexation agreement. So.
And another thing on parking, just looking at that, I would not want to have parking come off the parking.
Well, you can see these stalls right here. That would not be permitted, actually.
Yeah, I would not want those.
And you wouldn't want it anyways, because that's going to be eventually, I don't know what the road right of way is gonna be, but I think it's, at the very
Large.
least, it's gonna be a 3-lane road.
It's a big
So,
right.
yeah, it's gonna, and possibly even larger, so you wouldn't even have a chance pulling out of there.
Well, and
So,
isn't it, gonna be,
is it gonna extend all
only
the
to
way?
that, only to the state highway, from the freeway to the state?
Probably just to the state. Yet to be determined.
It's to be determined, but that's kind of what the thought is.
Yeah.
So you don't tell us otherwise.
But we're designing south of the highway to be a belt system in the future.
So it could easily be a UDOT facility.
It could be.
So near
You
term.
don't want to build something for them, then they get to take it over.
Near term, most likely that would be a single lane in each direction with a turning lane. Longer term, it's probably gonna be even wider than that.
But the right of way would be preserved.
Right, the right of way would be preserved with them.
Again, concept plan, there's lots of room for changing and adjustments, so it's not like set in stone with this, so.
Right.
And
I think we're just asking for a recommendation for this to move on to council where they'll actually hold a public hearing on this. So,
Is there any further discussion among commissioners? Any thoughts? I just have an issue with parking. Okay, no, and I have that same issue. I totally side with you there that we need to make sure we have enough parking. That's always a major concern of mine when we do any development, so.
I think the thing that's concerning me, and I realize that there are steps in which this can be addressed, but it feels like we want some things in that annexation agreement, and we're not far enough along yet to have those things in the agreement, and I'm a little nervous about that.
so before we take this to council, we would at least have a draft annexation agreement that we present to them. And so we could put some of those concerns down there if you have it.
A couple of things to consider, this does follow the general plan for this area. And its concept. And it does designate this area as mixed use.
Right.
And it was intended to be a buffer from the higher density situations. And then as we move further east, it can be more single family, larger lots. That was the intent with the area of this. And because it's on a rather major corridor, it was intended as a multi-use, mixed use area with commercial to the north, essentially all around that intersection.
Michael was probably going to say this for me, but I figured I wouldn't be lazy and just stand up and say it myself. I just wanted to speak to Commissioner Warner's comment. I think that having concerns is very justified. If there are concerns, and maybe what you would need to move forward is to see at least a draft of that annexation agreement and some of those details starting to be worked out. And if that is how you're feeling, that's fine. And the motion would be to just remand it back to staff until that information could be provided. Again, our intention is to work through all of those details, but if you don't feel comfortable moving it forward until that time, that would be some findings for you.
That would be my recommendation. We possibly remand this back to staff so we can at least see a draft agreement, so we feel more comfortable with the density and how everything's going. That kind of stuff. And, the limits and all those other things, how many parking and all that kind of stuff that would be in the draft agreement. So everybody else has any thoughts, but that would be my.
I just make a motion and then we remand this back to staff and make those annexation proposals that include drafting more of our concerns regarding parking and stuff.
At least have a draft annexation agreement before we.
Right.
The annexation.
Yeah,
Do you agree with that modification?
yes, sir, I do.
Have a motion, have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Beecher, all in favor, by yes?
Yes.
Okay. So let's look that a little further and see it again. All right, is there anything else from staff?
Just have some refreshments for you.
Okay,
That's right.
Okay, if we have no other staff reports, I will take a final motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, by yes?
Yes.
So we could put the camera second.
Yes.
Camera.